everyone, welcome back. We are finally live again, and today we're going to design an incredible portfolio project for your next UI UX design portfolio. And today's UI design has a lot of pink, has a lot of color, is food related, so it's super duper fun. Let's just get started with the demo. This is what we're going to be designing today. This is an awesome donut website, and it gets a lot better, especially later on. You get these nice shades of pink which we get to play around with, and that ends up being one of the best UIs you see. Definitely check this out, you guys. Super duper nice. How cute is that? The fonts that we're using today are absolutely incredible, and this just becomes one of the best UIs we've made in a long time. So this is the UI that we're going to be designing today. It has a ton of different elements that I'm super duper excited to cover. The floating navigation bar at the top remains there at all times and stays out of sticking to the top of the navigation, has a border radius, is completely rounded off, looks super cute. And then you have this super duper awesome font which we haven't ever used on this channel, so this is going to be super duper fun. The border, the color for the call to action button is bright, pops in your face, is perfect for this purpose. And this double-sided split slider looks incredible, especially with the popular FAQs. This is the gallery, which is quite modern and oversized, and it's supposed to be that way. This is one of the newer modern trends that's erupting out of oversized trends in UI design everywhere. We also have testimonials, which is completely awesome. And then you have your crafted with care traditional image overlay background section, which describes a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about today. So this is going to be one of the most incredible UIs we've done in a really long time. This is going to be our footer, and it has a lot of really cool things happening down here. So let's just get started. The very first thing you're going to do, if you haven't yet done it, is go and install Figma from figma.com/downloads. Get your desktop app for Mac OS or Windows, and when you do, you're going to click on create new design file. If you already have a new design file or you already have a new page, you're going to go back to your previous project if you already have one like me. And while this loads up, let's talk about all of the different images that we're going to use. Every single image, every single asset that is going to be used in this video is available in the Discord group. Find the link in the live chat and description. All right, and now that we have a project that we've already done, we're going to start with it. You can do a lot of things in Figma, especially if you're just getting started. You can change the background color of the page to something that is comfortable enough to use. I like to use the shade F5 in hex code, and so we're just going to F5, not double F double five, F5, and this gets super duper interesting super duper quickly. Let's just get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a new frame, and this frame is going to be, since we're viewing this in a laptop prototype box, we're going to be using the first laptop that we find, MacBook Air, and then we're going to get ourselves this menu bar and the first section done. Again, this is one of the cutest, nicest, most simple UIs you can do, especially if you're just starting out. We're going to start with our navigation bar. We're going to make a complete line over here. Make sure the width is slightly lesser than both of these sides. We're going to center align it perfectly, add a fill because we need to, change the color just so we can see what is going on here, and then we're going to round it off into this complete pill shape. Make sure everything is center aligned once again, super duper quickly. And then we have three different things that we need to take care of: links on this side, social media on that side, and then a brand name in the middle. So we're going to take care of that. Let's just jump right into the links, and before I do that, let's just get the colors for it right as well. So the pink that I'm using here is FFEAEA. You can just use this for your fill as well, FFEAEA, and this gives you a really cute shade of pink. Let me know what you think of the color scheme that we're using today. I feel like this is one of the softest tones we've ever done on this channel, and it's going to be incredible, you guys. It is truly incredible. All right, the fonts that we're using are also super duper special because we've never ever used them before. This is Source Sans Pro coupled with our Reltka, which is a super cute font, and also we've used Sora for a couple of the highlights. So the three fonts that we're using here are Reltka, Sora, and Source Sans Pro. Wow, this is a weird name. I never check the names while I'm choosing the fonts. I just go from the right side and then it becomes super duper confusing. Anyways, the name of the brand is going to be what was it? Donut Dreams. Donut Dreams. DOUGHNUT. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. We're aiming for reaching 500 subscribers on this channel today. We have 2 other live streams other than this one, obviously, because we're designing a lot of things over the weekend. Make sure to subscribe, and everyone who subscribes today will have a special prize as the new members of this channel. Let's do donut, and then we can change the font. The font for today is going to be Reltka. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done yet. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to leave a comment. Introduce yourself. Say hi in the chat. It's going to be super duper fun. And if you're looking for a UI design community to join, I know the best one. It's over at DevFast. Go join the link in the description and meet all sorts of designers. Alright, now we're going to take care of our second pink color, which is FF3285. This is our second pink shade that we're doing. FF3285, and with that we have this name sorted out as well. Now I want my logo, and for this I'm going to use a simple donut. The plugin I'm going to use for this one is Iconify. If you don't yet have Iconify, just search for it and you're going to get it right here, and we're going to run Iconify now. There are a ton of icon packs available in Figma, but over the years I found Iconify to be the best one, hands down. Alright, so we're just going to search for a simple donut, and oops. And now we're going to choose something we like. Let's choose this one. It's simple and it's cute and it just works. We'll just change the color over here from black to pink. Make sure width and height are linked together. Make the width smaller. Don't worry if it's getting all scrunchy and weird. You don't have to worry about it immediately. And then we can reduce the stroke and bring it down to 2, and that should fix things for us, hopefully. You can experiment with thickness and see what percentage fits you best. I think 2 is just fine for this one. We're going to take both of these, group them together, and center line the group. This is going to make sure our logo system remains just as it is. You can increase or decrease the size as you please. The next thing that we're taking care of is our links on the right and left side. Essentially, these links are basically the same. Let's do about, and then we can start styling them. Font is going to be Source Sans Pro. Source Sans Pro. Reduce the font size. Let's do 16. Put it on one end, copy and paste it. Let's do home. And then change it to our menu. Alright, we're going to put down our menu over here. And now we're just going to select all of these, group them together by pressing Ctrl G. Make sure to press Shift to select multiple things at once. Add an auto layout. This is going to make sure everything is aligned perfectly in the center. You're going to make sure everything remains completely in the center of the auto layout by clicking on this button. And then we're going to duplicate this frame because because we also need to add the social media handles for this on the other end. If you're unsure of how much spacing to leave here, press the Alt key, and that's going to show you how much spacing is left, and then you can do that in the other corner as well. So you're going to get 43 on this side, and I feel like this is far too short. This is 22. Yeah. Alright, so now we have everything that's perfectly aligned together, and 22 on this side. So we just have to make sure that this is 22 as well. Let's shift this around, and then we can see the spacing that's left in here. We just need to adjust it by a couple of pixels, and boom, there we have it. Completely spaced out perfectly. If it doesn't look good in its current stage, you can always bring it closer together and center line everything. All right, this works. Now we're going to change the social media handles from the links just so we can tell them apart. About us, Vintage Donuts, get in touch. Let's do at vintage. Let's do donut dreams. It was dreams, and then we can add a social media handle, dreams.donut, and we're going to make it have its own auto width so it takes up as much space as it needs to. I want to make sure this stays as it is, so we're going to give it this side of spacing, and then when we adjust it, it's going to stay put in that direction. Let's give it auto width, and it's going to take up exactly the amount of width it needs to, and then we can change the email ID as well. gmail.com, and now we have to make sure our frame has the exact same. You know what, let's make this smaller because this is an example ID anyway. Done. And now we're going to make sure our frame has the exact amount of width it needs to accommodate all of the contents, and this is going to now say social. This is now our social media button, and we're going to make sure everything has exactly the amount of spacing it needs to. When you press hug content, that just makes sure everything is perfectly centered and has the amount of spacing it needs to have. The next thing we're going to do is obviously create the image overlay background inside of here. So we're going to create a frame for this, put it in the background, and obviously add a fill. Now this fill is going to be of a different color for now, just so it becomes visible, and then later on we're going to add a really nice image in the background. You like to use Lumi, which is my favorite platform for images, and we're just going to get it now. Lumi is loading up. We're going to search for DONUT, and now we're getting our donut image. So you can choose any image you want over here. I think I like this one. Let's switch up the images that we've been using for a little bit. Let's try to work with this. Again, there are a lot of great choices to choose from, and you can't really go wrong here. If you don't like the way the image is cropped, you're going to go over to the image, change the fill to crop, and then you're going to shift it above using your mouse. Really simple stuff. Whatever layout you think fits best, and then you can use your arrow keys to make sure everything is perfectly centered inside the frames as well. This is now our image, which we're using primarily for this, and now we can just crop it out, make sure it's perfectly spaced. We're going to increase the width of our page, and now we're going to change the text. So the text is going to say savor the retro delight. The font we're using today is, you guessed it, Reltka. Savor. I know this is not readable right now. Change the font to Reltka. Let's change this to Reltka, change this to white, and we're going to add an effect of a background shadow just so everything is popping out on screen. When you have a white font, it's more readable to have a background shadow in the background. So if I just put this white text here, remove the background shadow, you have a harder time reading texts like this. But if I add a background shadow, it becomes considerably easier. Considerably. Alright, we're going to reduce this width now. Make sure everything is perfectly aligned in the center. Make sure it's taking up the amount of space it needs to. Center line everything. And we can center line this as well. Perfect. Let's adjust the drop shadow now. Let's increase the blurring. Make sure the y-axis remains as close to this as we can keep it, and increase the black color here for just for a little bit, and you can change the opacity obviously as you need to. Oops, let's adjust the width and make it fit perfectly inside of our frame. Now that we've taken care of that, we're going to create the other sections. You know what, I feel like this is a good point to split the screen and create the prettiest, cutest UI by far. If you've just started watching this, make sure to subscribe. We have 4 live streams planned for today, and it would be awesome to cross 500 subscribers. Everyone who subscribes today gets a special gift. There's a couple of secrets I've been keeping with regards to this channel, and it would be super duper awesome to get to reveal them. Make sure to subscribe, and there is going to be a lot of really cool things happening from now on. We're going to copy this and then we're going to paste it here as well, so we have 2 different frames now. If you've subscribed, or if you haven't already, whatever that status may be, make sure to click on the bell icon, because I come here live every single weekend and we design 8 different UI design projects, all perfect for portfolios, and you can join in on the fun. Let's do DONUT, and so you're going to get notified. The best thing with bell icons is you get notified about what's going on. Alright, now we're going to get ourselves a cute donut image. Let's choose this one by Veera Gutierrez. Let's just close this up, and now we're going to add for ourselves Why Choose Us. The font that we're using here is Reltka, and speaking of Reltka, I completely forgot about the call to action button. How silly of me. Let's shift this above by a couple of pixels. The font we're using here today, this is the first time on this channel we've used 3 different fonts, all very different looking for the same UI, and so the third font for today, other than Source, Sans Pro and Reltka, is Sora. Order now. We're going to change the font family to SORA. They've just worked so well together that you can't even separate them now. This is now I'm talking about the simplest way of making a button. So you're going to zoom in, and now we're going to talk about the simplest way of making a button. Right click, frame selection, add an auto layout, add padding on the left and right, add a padding on the top and bottom. Make sure your font size is exactly what you need it to be. I want 32 pixels, so I'm going to make sure I have that. Make sure your spacing is adjusted according to your font size, so you're just going to accommodate to whatever that would be. Add a border radius if you need to, add a fill, change the color to whatever bright shade you would want here to be, and then we have with us our completely ready button. We just need to change the color of our font and make sure the frame is perfectly aligned as well. And I'm going to add a border radius just because it looks cuter, and since pink is the vibes we're going for, obviously if something is cute, it needs to be here. Alright, we need to make sure this is a little bit thicker, so we're just going to change the thickness to, let's do bold. That should be fun. Make sure to subscribe. It would be awesome to reach 500 subscribers today. Come on, you guys. I think we can make it happen. I think it's pretty simple. Let's group it together, put it perfectly in the center of our frame, and now if your spacing doesn't look right, if your button looks a little bit fluffed, that's fine. We just need to adjust the frame and make sure everything is perfectly set here. One of the reasons your button might look a little bit fluffed is maybe the font sizing isn't perfect, maybe. Let's reduce the frame size, perfectly align it in the center, and also give it a border radius. Let's go ahead and give this guy a border radius. And now we're going to start working on our split section. The text that we're using here for the title is Why Choose Us, so we're just going to let's change the color of our frame and then start with the pink that we have. We're going to go right here and choose this shade of pink. It's called FFEAEA. Let's just make sure we're using the same shade. Absolutely we are. So we're going to add the text Why Choose Us, And with this shade of pink, almost always when you have a dark brown, it works quite well. Medium to dark brown works well with any light shade of pink, and that's a rule. Again, I would want to change my fill of the whole frame to pink as well, so I'm just going to, oops, not this. I would want to change the frames, this is the frames fill to pink as well, just because it fits better. Alright, so the text that we have for over here is why choose us. Let's change the text to say why choose us, and we're going to change the font to, you guessed it, Reltka. Add a little bit of font size over here, add a question mark just because, place it perfectly in the center, and now we're going to start adding a description for all these, for the question answers. So we're going to have to add these pointers for all of the reasons why the user should choose us. Alright, now we're just going to go back and create simple boxes. Let's create simple frames and add a border radius, add a fill. This fill is going to be a really light shade of pink. Let's go over here, change this to FFF9F9. We're going to copy the color and change this to FFF9F9. Let's paste it over here and add a border radius because we absolutely need to. Again, this is starting to look as cutesy as we planned. Sometimes that is the look and layout you're going for, and it's completely fine. Let's just get this made first, and then we can copy and paste it a bunch of times. Alright, so the first thing we're doing is adding a title, artisanal quality. The font again remains Source Serif Pro, and the thickness will always be regular. Artisanal quality, let's just type it out. Artisanal quality. It's super easy, and we're going to change the font to say Source Sans Pro. Font size will be reduced by a whole lot. Let's do 24. You know what, let's do 22. That should be even smaller, and it will also be what we're going for. And now we're just going to get a lighter version of brown for the description. I'm not typing out the description myself. You can copy and type. You can pause the video and type it yourself. I'm going to style it for now. Change the font size to 14. Oops. Make sure you don't mess up the font sizings, and make sure this brown is just a little bit lighter. Again, you guys, let's just make this smaller, adjust everything perfectly, align it to the left, and make sure every line has an equal amount of height. I feel like sometimes the automatic height that each font gives us isn't good enough, so you need to personally adjust it manually. I feel like you would have to work a little bit harder, but it's fine. Let's add it over here, and now we have our card in here ready with us. Now we've perfectly aligned it together, and we can duplicate this frame a couple of times. I just want to make sure before duplicating this frame there is a little bit of content at the top, and now it is. So we're just going to duplicate this, and we're going to duplicate it twice, 3 different times. Make sure there is an equal amount of spacing between all of these. And now we're going to change the text. Unique flavors, cozy atmosphere. Let's copy text and paste it here to match styles. And we're just going to do that a bunch of times. This is just plain copy pasting the text. You can pause the video at any point to do it yourself as well. And it's already coming along super easily. Like within 30 minutes, we've assembled one of the prettiest UIs ever. I feel like the line height in here is a little bit less. We're going to adjust it to go up to 160%. Oops, not 169, not 169, 160%. Done. Okay, now we're going to add a gallery, and this is an oversized image gallery. Absolutely gorgeous to look at. Undoubtedly one of the most amazing ones ever. Check this font out. How awesome is it? And now we're going to add a frame. Let's increase the size of our main frame, and then we can add a gallery frame. Gallery frame is going to be slightly larger than your height of the laptop which we're using, just because the concept here is oversized in itself. All right, now we're going to add gallery of goodies to the title. Again, you guys, if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We plan on reaching 500 subscribers today, and we also have like 4 streams planned for today. So we've done one, this is the second stream, and then everyone who joins today is going to get a special prize, because we have so many things cooking up under the hood, and it would be awesome to release some stuff as well. We're going to highlight the important word in here and change this to a little bit darker. All right, so we have a couple of questions in. Let's talk about them as well. Let's increase the size, and then we can take the questions from the audience. The Hustler asks, hi ma'am, I'm pursuing PCA final year. I'm interested in going to design. What steps I want to go through to become product designer? All right, I'm going to describe to you the process of UI UX design and the way it just works so easily, especially if you're self-taught. The stuff with UI UX design, or product design for that matter, is always going to be the same. The better you're going to get better as you practice, and one of the best ways to just get started in design, to get your first foot in the door, is to have a great portfolio. In case you want to get hired into corporate or do freelancing, whatever it is you choose to do, you always need to have a great portfolio. The way to do that is, and I'm not going to do some amount of magic here, no one is going to do any magic to make sure you have a magic portfolio. You have to work on your own skills, and I'm not just going to leave you hopelessly there with make me a portfolio sort of weird sign. The thing you need to do here is, and you can do this if you choose to, you can go back to all of the past streams which you've done on this channel. This is the simplest roadmap I can give you, and there are complete playlists for beginners who are just getting started of easy UI design, medium and hard UI design, and there are also complete responsive industry standard project stuff you'd work on a real job, and projects that you would make in real life. You can make them yourself. All of the images that we use in every single stream, we have like over 100 videos at this point, and every single image that we've used is present in the Discord group. The link is in the live chat. If you join this Discord group, you will find all of the assets that we've used. Take whatever projects you think are good and make them yourself. Do your own spin on them, maybe get a couple of images, change things up yourself, or just do what we're doing. Try to follow along as best you can, and whatever projects you believe come out to be the best, you're going to add them to your portfolio and start applying, because you don't really need a degree per se to be an excellent product designer, UI UX designer. And I feel like the way in which interviews and hiring is happening in this day and age, you don't always need to have the perfect exact degree which says UI UX designer. You having a college education is great, but at the end of the day, the thing that gets you hired is going to be what you put into your design work and what any company or any client sees as value in you as a designer. And that is only going to happen when you have a really strong portfolio. The simplest thing you can do to get started in that zone is to join any of the live streams that we've done. These are 1 or 2 hour projects, super duper simple stuff, especially aimed for people like you who are just getting started. Or you can join us every single Saturday and Sunday, which is today as well, and we do 8 different streams throughout the weekend. So it starts off at 11 a.m. IST, and then we have a stream at 2 and 5 and 8, and then all of these are super duper awesome portfolio projects. In fact, the last stream we did at 8 p.m. yesterday was a portfolio for UI UX designers. You can take some inspiration from that, get started. In case you want your own portfolio website, we have the Launch Your Own Portfolio Masterclass, which is a super duper cheap, super duper easy masterclass that happens on the Discord group every single month. You can join in there as well, and it's super duper easy to get you started. You don't have to worry about the code for launching your own website. Within 3 hours you get a fully coded up website built by your own two hands, and it takes in all of the skills of UI UX design which you would have as a UI UX designer, turns it into your very own portfolio website. So number one, if you do the and this class happens every single month, by the way. So you now have your own portfolio website, which is www.yourname.com, and then you have your own portfolio projects which are industry standard and up to, if not above, the par of what's already out there. And every single day, every single time, you're working on your own projects, and that's going to improve you in a way nothing else would. I know this has been a long explanation, but your question was long as well. I hope that answers your question, and that would be the simplest process to getting started. It's a little bit detailed, I know, but so is getting a career started. I hope that answers your question. All right, now we're going to create oversized descriptions. Let's get an image in here. Let's get it up and resize the container. Add a border radius. You're very welcome. Hasla says, thank you, you're very welcome. All right, now we're going to add an image over here. So my favorite platform ever for images is Lumi, and let's search for the very donut image. There are many different stock image platforms such as Unsplash, Pexels, Pixabay. All are completely free, but in my opinion, Lumi is just the best because most of these platforms have become overused over the years. People have been using them for so long, and the same images have been being used for so long that it's just gotten to a point where it's everywhere, and you've already seen the image which you are now using for your UI 1,000 times before. In a world like that, it's nice to have fresh images from AI to our screens directly through Lumi. You can crop the image if you want to. Use your mouse to move it around and get it to a place where you're happy with the way things look. I feel like this is a good place to stop. Alright, and now we're going to add a description. So this is just going to be a simple single line. You can pause the video and copy the text if you need to. Type it out yourself. I'm just going to get the text and paste it here. Oops, let's just paste it here like any other text, and then we're going to style it. We're going to change the font to Source Sans Pro. And reduce the font size to 24. Let's bring it over here and bring this down to we're going to change the text to gray. This works perfectly. You don't want to do a lot of black with pink because the shade of pink that we're using really makes it difficult for other colors to blend in, especially at this rate. There is also going to be a next and previous button. Let's just make those as well. Let's go back and search for Iconify, which is the best plugin for icons. Go to next. We're going to get an icon for next. Let's just get this one, and then we're going to import it as a frame. Make sure to import vectors like these as frames, because if you don't, they start to run wild. Like if you stretch a screen, they get all out of proportion and shape. And then we're going to add an auto layout to this. Add padding if you need to. Otherwise, if it's completely squared off, you don't need to. And then we're going to add a fill. Change the color of this to pink, and then the pink that we were already using. I just wanted to go back to that. All right, let's just go with brown because that is a good shade too. And then we're going to add a border radius, completely round it off. And with that, we have successfully built for ourselves this beautiful next icon, and then we're going to duplicate it and flip it horizontally in the other direction so it looks like the previous icon. Done. And then we're going to add a couple of buttons just to go ahead. Add an ellipse, make sure the width and height is locked together, and then reduce this to 10 pixels. If you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, just let me know. Oops. We're going to copy and paste this once again. And one last time. Make sure to press shift and select all of these together, add an auto layout, and then change the color to a light shade of brown. Let's do a light shade of pink. Just a little bit darker than, we can go lighter as well. We can go with the lighter shade that was in the FAQs above. And then we can choose the current item that we are seeing. Let's do this one with the pink highlight. This looks good. It actually looks quite cool. All right. The next thing we're going to build out is this section. This is the testimonial section, and it is also in the same split screen layout with which we did this section. Let's just build it out super duper quickly. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe. We have 4 different streams scheduled for today. It would be awesome to reach 500 subscribers. Everyone who joins receives something special that we're just launching right now as soon as we complete 500 subscribers. Obviously, we can't let that go uncelebrated. Make sure to subscribe, because how awesome would it be if we reached like 500 subscribers just here today? I believe it would be incredible. Let's make sure we have 2 different... where did the frame go? My frames keep on getting lost. All right. Let's make sure this frame has half the width of this. So if this is 1280, you're going to change this to 640, and then the height remains exactly the same. If your height is extra or lesser, then you have to adjust it, and you have to create 2 different frames. Let's just make one frame once, and then we can change and customize the image and everything else. Let's create a simple image at first. We're going to zoom in and add a simple circle, increase the font size by pressing shift, place it entirely in the center, press this button to center stuff, and then we can copy the description text. Let's take this description text, and we're just going to copy this and paste it with the same exact style which the other text has been, and then we can style it together. Let's create a text box, paste it here in match style, and I feel like this is good enough. We don't even have to do anything at this point. This is already what's going. Figma always saves the last type of description that you just did, last type of text that you just did, and then you can use that exact same style. But if you don't yet have it, let's change the font color to brown, or we can go a little bit darker with this one, I feel, because you are trying to highlight this text as much as you can, especially if it's a great feedback by a fellow customer. Let's perfectly align it in the center. Make sure it is inside your frame. Press this button to press this button to align everything in the center. And now we also need to add the name of the person who is talking about this. So let's just duplicate this, and which is an awesome plugin to get fake names. Let's go to content reel, and we're going to add a name now. Content reel lets you have fake names, all sorts of them, and this is good. Let's do food blogger. And we're going to make sure we have this put in here. We're going to reduce the font size as well. Bring it down to 16 and change the color to a little bit of a lighter gray. This works. We're going to change this to an image of a person who is reviewing this. Let's go to Lumi, because of course this is my favorite stock image platform. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to click on the bell icon so you get notified as soon as I come live. And also, by the way, I'm live here every single weekend at 11 to 5 and 8 11 a.m. and then all of the other are PM, Indian Standard Time. Let's crop this image out. Choose crop from the fill container. Oops. And then make sure to press shift, and then you can scale your image and everything will be perfect, and then you get this face. I know it looks a little bit weird right now, but you can make it bigger or smaller as you choose to. So you can press shift and make it bigger, make it smaller. This looks good. Let's just leave it be here. Done. And now we're going to take this frame, copy and paste it once again, position exactly next to this guy, and change the background color to just be in the middle of the both of these. And let's now change this text back here again. We're just going to copy and paste simple text which we've already styled, and change the names here as well. Paste to match style, because if the style is different, things can be accommodated accordingly. Again, let's increase the font size to 28 because it'll be a little bit better. And now we're going to change this image. Go to Lumi, and we're going to change an image. Let's add this image over here. Done. Now we have two different people who have reviewed this for us, and now we can create this really modern, super duper innovative, crafted with care banner. Let's create the next banner. We're going to simply create a frame. Make sure it extends through the complete width, and the width for this one is 1280, so we have to make sure the width remains 1280. Align it perfectly in this. Oops, why is this going out of frame? This is the most infuriating thing ever. Sometimes when you create new frames, they just go out, and it's honestly crazy. And now we're going to have an image in the background. This is actually a little bit complicated to build out, but we'll break it down. There is an image in the background, and then you have an overlay of a partially visible or translucent black. And so we have to do two layers in here. Let's do a donut image first, and then we can start with the multiple layers going on. So let's just do this donut image. Let's do this one. While this is loading up, I'm going to close it up, and you know what, this looks fine too. We're going to add a fill, and this is going to make things darker. The only reason we're making this darker is because text may or may not be completely visible in the brighter areas, but once we have made sure everything in here is darker, it automatically will become visible. So let's you can adjust this as much as you want to. You can even choose a color with which you want to tint this whole thing, but I don't want to tint it with anything. I just want to make it darker. If you wanted to make it brighter, by the way, you would choose white. If you want to make it darker, you're going to choose black. And so we're going to now start typing our text out. Taste the tradition, crafted with care. Let's get started. This is going to be very similar to this font size, so I'm just going to copy and paste it. The font here is Source Sans Pro. Taste the tradition, taste the tradition. Change the font size to white, font color to white. Font weight should be changed to like semi-bold, just so it becomes visible. If you're still having difficulty seeing it, you can add a background shadow, drop shadow, and that's going to make things very visible. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, you have to subscribe now, because we talk all sorts of UI design, and if you like UI design, subscribe. We also need to add crafted with care in here. I feel like this was much smaller, so we're just going to have to make this smaller. Let's paste this right over here, copy and paste it here once again. Change this to crafted with care. Increase the font size to Reltka. And let's do 96, because why not? The bigger the better, right? Alright. Let's now do the other elements we need to do. Let's add this description and these two call to action buttons. This description is quite close to this one, so we're just going to have to copy it. Let's reduce the font size here as well, because it is leaving very little space for anything else to come around. Again, we can increase the font size if we need to. 22. And now let's add a description. If you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, just leave them in the live chat. Let's copy this text and paste it with the same styling, and then we can style it together. Reduce the font weight to regular, and let's increase the font size to 24 just so it becomes a little bit bigger. Alignment for this text is going to be left. Both of these sections are going to be left aligned. Let's change this to 2 lines as well, and then we can adjust it from there on. Let's change the font line height to auto, and that's going to make things as they came automatically closer together. You can increase this if you want, but I feel like this is almost fine. So the line height that I'm using currently is 98.1, and then I'm going to change this word which I have, and I'm going to change the font color here to something that looks a little bit more highlighted, like care. I'm just going to change this color to to light pink, and then we can change this to, let's do to 24 should be fine, and then we can increase the drop shadow if things are still not visible. Check this out. Already so much higher visibility. Like, visibility increases so much. Let's paste this right here, add blur, increase this, and we're going to add 2 different buttons here, and these buttons are very, very similar to the buttons we've already done, which is why I'm not worried about creating new buttons now. I'm just going to go to the top, copy this button, bring it down, and we might have to change a couple of things. Zoom it in, paste it down here. If your font size is too big, if your font size looks too big, it probably is. And now we can adjust, now we can adjust the sizing here. Change this to 20, and make sure this and this align perfectly. We're going to get this button, copy and paste it in here once again. Remove the fill, add a stroke, make sure the stroke is white, add a little bit of thickness to the stroke, and with that we have our second button ready with us as well. Learn more. If you guys subscribe and we reach 500 subscribers today, I have a very special surprise waiting for everyone who subscribed here. Alright, you can add a background shadow to this text if it isn't visible, but with my image that's not an issue, so I'm not going to do it right now. Alright, you can change this to black or white. Both of them give excellent visibility, and white just works better for me. And now we're designing this super simple, super modern, super cute footer. Let's make sure the width is exactly where we need it to be, and we're going to create a footer frame. I'm going to show you now the simplest way in the world to design a footer, especially if you want to do a modern, state-of-the-art sort of version. Alright, we've created a simple frame. Let's go back to the top, take our logo, copy it, bring it down, and then we're going to paste it right here. Make sure the font size has been increased, because that doesn't happen sometimes and then it becomes an issue. Let's bring it up to 56. This looks good. Add the word team at the end, Donuts Dream Team, and we're going to increase this size for the logo as well. If your stroke looks too thin, it probably is. Change it to 3. You could do 4. Let's do 4. Why not? And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, because it would be amazing to reach 500 subscribers today. And also, we've got a special surprise planned for everyone who's subscribed. Alright, we're going to do 4 of these options: about us, our work, LinkedIn, contact us. Now you might notice this link group is very similar to this group, so we're just going to go to the top, very, very easily take this group, and then the only thing we need to change here is the font size, which is super duper simple to do, and I'm also going to show you the hack to get that done. Let's scroll up, copy, paste. This UI came together so quickly, which is surprising. We're going to select all of these at once, press shift, and increase the font size. Let's go to 32, because the ultimate goal here is everything remains visible. And also we're going to add one more option. Let's now make sure the spacing in between all of these is good. It is. And we're going to add footer text options: about us, our work, LinkedIn, contact us. Let's just really quickly type them out. If you guys have any questions related to UI design, just let me know. Make sure to subscribe. It would be awesome to reach 500 subscribers today. And also, there's a special surprise for everyone who subscribed. All right, we're going to place this perfectly in the center. Let's reduce the font size to 28 because at this point it's starting to compete with the title, which is not good for font hierarchy. You want your biggest, most important header to be the biggest and truly be that. Let's make sure everything is perfectly centered and shift it above by a couple of pixels. And now we're going to make sure we have a descriptive line which cuts off two different sections. Let's make a simple single line, put it right here, and also do copyright 2024 donut dreams, all rights reserved. So this is very similar in font size to this. We're going to have to copy it and change the size and color. You know what, let's just copy one of these because why not? Let's change the font size to 18 because that seems like a nice font size in the middle. 2024 donut dreams, all right, reserved. Let's just type this out. Windows full stop, especially if you're on a Windows, only if you're on Windows, by the way, types out copyright symbol and all the other emojis. 2024 donut dreams, all rights reserved. We are so close to being done, you guys, and it happened this quickly. It's super, truly unbelievable. All right, and these are the other links that we're using. Let's just copy this, and then we're going to change each individual size for each link. The things that this is going to say is privacy policy, terms of service, and obviously cookie preferences. Let's just shorten this really quickly. Privacy, cookies, and then let's do terms. You can type out the whole thing, but this is also pretty much self-explanatory. All right, we're going to change the font size to 18, which is the exact size of this as well. And then we can reduce the spacing between each of these to a number where everything looks nice. Make sure this line and both of these are perfectly aligned together. Again, this is it, you guys. Can you believe that? It just happened so quickly. We're just going to prototype this now. Make sure the prototype settings have this device set up for you. Share it. You know what, if it isn't set up, you can get it from over here. If you want to change the device, you can do it in here as well. It has all of the colors of a frame. I'm going to share this. You know what, I'm just going to open up the prototype first, close everything else just so that we don't have any confusion anymore, and then we can share this prototype with everyone watching. Let's share this prototype with everyone watching. We'll copy the link, go back and add it in here, paste it, and we're done. Now everyone who's watching will be visible over here. And also let's now talk about the super cute UI we've done. Before we do that, I also want to cover the fact that we can change the color of this background according to what we want in here. So you can do that as well. It's a super cool effect. And now when I make this fully full screen, check this out. It looks truly like something out of a modern website. I'm just going to scroll now. This actually looks super incredible. Like, I would push this to production. Truly unbelievable, but I would, because it looks incredible. It truly looks incredible. All right, let's scroll to the gallery now. This gallery actually looks like one of the modern oversized awards style trendy galleries that are going on, especially in modern design. And with 2025 coming, I feel like this is the perfect time to get into it as well. This is our testimonial section with a split screen and 2 different shades of pink, which is awesome. And this is our traditional crafted with care section. The word care is highlighted, and this is the most wholesome text box in the world. And now we have our pretty little footer, which is completely amazing, especially everything considered. All right, let's just recap what we just learned. We learned about the floating navigation bar, the image overlays, and 3 different fonts in the same exact call to action button, split screens, which is by the way my favorite, and then using all of these different font shades to get the right color across, using Lumi to get AI generated images as stock image platforms from stock image platforms, and getting icons from Iconify, making oversized galleries. All of these are just very, very valuable skills that you would need to know to get into any junior level or senior level UI design position. Thank you so much for watching. I hate to go, but I will be back at 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time with another interesting build, and I'll be back at 8 p.m. too. The 8 p.m. stream today is going to be incredible because I am really excited for that one. It's a complete SaaS app. It's a blast. You have to be there to witness it. All right, I will see you then. Until then, keep designing, take care, and goodbye.